Welcome to 45 on the Hour podcast. I'm your host, Colt 45, and I'm here with Professor Eric Medina. Sir, how you doing, sir?
What's up?
Good morning. I keep trying a new intro, like something different. I used to do the Darce Knight, Professor Eric.
My name is Eric Medina.
Yeah.
AKA the Darce Knight.
Yeah. The raddest dude ever. You know, we'll just go into.
Sometimes for like Black Ops, I'm the Darce Knight. Regular life, just Professor Eric.
I like it. Guys, we got a good podcast for you here today. 4th of July is coming up, and we wanted to do one based on what real freedom is, okay? America, land of the free, home of the brave, also the land of opportunity, right? And today, guys,
100%.
Right? It is. And today, guys, we have a guest, okay? It's a gentleman that I've known for many years now, that I look at as like a little brother, someone that just really tips the iceberg as like a genuine great human being, okay? Mm-hmm. A master of all ninjas, okay? Of all arts, the guy that can do everything, the guy that I've seen grow up from a little boy, I would say, to a real man, my good friend and business partner, Javid Hasanov.
What's up? Thanks for having me. It's good to finally be here, man.
Welcome to the podcast, Javid.
Thank you. Yeah,
Put your mic a little bit closer.
Yeah, I'm always next door. I hear you guys doing this podcast, and I watch you guys. I see how interesting it is, and great to be here.
Good, man. So Javid has a crazy historical background. Okay. Like the way that he is right now. Okay. This guy is not only an entrepreneur, he's a great guy, okay? Just a great individual. But those characteristics come from how he was raised and what he had to come through, okay? A lot of guys don't know the story of Javid, okay? If you guys are listening right now out there and you're like, man, I know Javid, okay, cool. Well, you're about to hear this guy's story, and the story is intense, okay?
Right on. Okay.
And what that has to do with the 4th of July is because this guy was not born in America. He was born in a different country, okay? Not only was he born in a different country, he was born in a country that was going through some stuff, okay? Not only that, he was born in a situation where he didn't have a dad around. And he had a mom that was struggling to get him here to America. And I'm going to let him tell his story. Bro, tell me what your story is. Start from the beginning. I want to know what country you came from and what it was like there. And how did you get to America?
It was definitely a journey. It's definitely a journey. So we were pretty affluent over in Azerbaijan. I was born in Baku, Azerbaijan. It's the capital city. So
where's that like located on the map? Just for
so it's such a small place. It's smaller than California, actually. So it's right on the border of Europe and Asia, right underneath Russia.
Okay.
It's former Soviet Union. I was born in 92. And that's when the disband of the Soviet Union was happening. So to this day, I still have as a keepsake. I have a passport with a hammer and sickle on it. The old
that
school.
Is so cool.
Dang, I didn't even know that.
Soviet.
I didn't even know that.
That's awesome.
Old school Soviet passport, hammer and sickle on it. The whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing. So as I was saying, we were pretty affluent over there. My dad had he had a store. He had like a convenience store. My grandfather was he was a high-ranking member of the military over there. He was a general.
Okay.
So our name Hasanov was really well known, really well respected. And then my mom met my dad. Right, when she met my dad, they immediately had kids at 19. Right, that's when they had me. Right, at 19, my mom had me, and there was a problem with my dad's side of the family and my mom. They just did not like her. They didn't like her. They wanted to take me away from her. It was constant. I was constantly having military show up at my mom's house. They were trying to.
Okay.
I'll get into even more once I get into school. It was something else. But so that was kind of the life. It was easy for the first couple of years, but
living with your parents, you're saying?
Living with my parents for the first 2 years wasn't that problematic. And, the taking me away wasn't really on the menu as much. But then when I turned 2, my dad ended up passing. He died when he was 22 from a drug overdose. So Just like it is here
My
in
condolences,
America.
man. Sorry to hear.
Yeah, you know what? Just like it is here, it's an epidemic all over the world. All over the world. I mean, and over there's just such a lack of education. So people just smoke whatever, do whatever, inject whatever, and there's just zero guidance on that. Anyway, he had diabetes. He ended up doing drugs, and they found his body in just a little canal. The only reason Azerbaijan is the kind of place where you see a dead body in the street, you're just rolling right by. It's not your problem. It's not your problem. You've got other stuff to do. So you just see a body, you just keep rolling. Well, they found my dad there, and the only reason anyone stopped at all was because of my grandfather. Because they saw him, they're like, wait a minute, that's the Hasanov son. They ended up picking him up, taking him to the hospital. He was pronounced dead then. So what does that do? That leaves me, a 2-year-old, my mom, 20 years old, or 21 years old at the time, alone in this country.
Your mom was 21.
She was 21 years old. I was
single with a son.
Widowed. Yep.
Oh, wow. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, widowed.
She had it rough. Yeah.
She had it rough, right?
Did she have a job? Did she work? Was she going to school? Did she have any income?
She was going to school. She was going to school for medicine back then. And then after my dad ended up passing, everything got put on hold. So everything was put on hold.
So she was trying to be like a nurse or something like that.
She was trying to.
Okay.
Everything got put on hold. And the only thing she was doing was trying to take care of me and just trying to work wherever she could. Luckily, we had help from my grandma and my aunt and such. So they were kind of help watching me. But I mean, I'm sure you guys can imagine 21 years old in a third world country as a woman, trying to survive. It was just.
What's it like for women over there? Is it different for women as it is for men? Do men, is it normal like in America where men and women have the same rights, or is it different?
When it comes to actual rights, I would say they're the same. There is no systemic
because it's considered Russia.
Well, it's
Azerbaijan, but it's like a.
Azerbaijan is its own place.
It's like what Puerto Rico is for America, kind of maybe something.
Yes,
like that.
that's
U.S.
good.
territory or Russian territory or whatever.
Right. So it's former Soviet Union. Right. So it's former Soviet Union, just like Ukraine. Right. That was former Soviet Union. Azerbaijan is former Soviet Union.
Okay.
But so as far as systemic laws go into place, there was no real difference. However, you go apply for a job as a woman, they don't even listen to you. They don't listen to you. No one cares. You're essentially treated like a second-class citizen. Especially Azerbaijan is a Muslim country, right? So it's a Muslim country. They didn't prevent her from getting an education. They didn't prevent her from getting a job, but definitely things were a lot more difficult.
For sure.
A lot more. Yeah, especially for a woman. I mean, as it is everywhere, but even more so over there. It was unapologetically, bad and discriminatory.
It's part of the culture. It is what it is. Yeah.
Either you make it or you don't.
You either make it or you don't.
And no one gives a crap. It's just like, okay, cool. Yeah, you don't make it. Cool. Get over. There's no benefits for you. It's not like America where if you're poor, they give you welfare, right? Or something like that.
Right. If you're poor everywhere. I mean, it's all poor. It's tough. As I mentioned before, they found, you see a body on the floor. You're not stopping to pick it up. You got stuff to do. You got to go get the wheat to go get the water to go make the bread for the day, so you don't have time to stop and help out a dead body on the floor, right?
That's crazy, man.
Right. So it's kind of how it was back then.
So you go through all this stuff. Your dad passes away. Your mom's like, what am I going to do? Right? How am I going to provide for my son? What am I going to do? What happens after that? How did you get from there to America? Or if there's anything in between I miss? How?
So, when years ago, I wasn't really a faith-based type of guy. But recently in my life, I am, right? I believe in God. I think that everyone has a path.
Right on.
And
so you just started believing in God, or was that something you always had faith in?
No, definitely something new for me. That's definitely something new for me. But the way that we got here, I swear, was all because of God's plan.
Yeah, nothing's a coincidence, right?
Nothing is a coincidence. Nothing at all. So what ended up happening was after my dad passed away, there was some turmoil, right? But eventually me and my mom my mom at least, fell into this deep depression, right? So as I'm sure,
of course, dude, this is crazy. Yeah, I'm.
You know what? I actually forgot to say. So
you're 2 years old right now.
I'm 2 years old this time.
Your mom's 21.
My mom's 21. My mom, So this is the chain of events.
And I know your mom, by the way. Hi, Mom.
My mom turns 21. My dad dies the next day. Her dad dies the following day after that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Holy
So this happened within a period of 3 days.
Yeah,
Your dad died.
My dad dies.
Her dad died.
Yeah, my grandpa. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
All within a matter of 3 days. Birthday, dad dead, grandpa dead.
Okay.
So as I'm sure you could, you're beaten down as a human being. You're just beaten down. Your husband or your wife passed away. Your mother or your dad died.
It all hit you at once.
All at once, right? She falls into this Great Depression. And according to our neighbor, who's our family friend, me and her didn't leave the house for 3 days. We slept for 3 days straight. It was just
After all this happened.
After all this happened, we slept for 3 days straight. Big depression. My mom finally says, "Hey, I have a 2-year-old kid here and he has no food at the house. I need to go out and to the market and go buy some food." So she does. She goes out there. She tries to pick up some food. And you know who she meets? My stepdad. She meets my stepdad right there at the market. My stepdad at the time, he has a club. It's called Universal. Universal is a club. It was like underground. It's really cool club.
Like a dance club.
Like a dance club. Yeah,
All
he
right,
had.
right on.
Yeah, he had one back then. So that was really nice. And that, he found my mom. They ended up hitting it off. He gave her a management position over there. So he's taking care of her. So he takes care of her. They get married a year after that. And then he ends up having his sister and his mother who lived out here in Oregon. And he's the one that went and just
Nice.
kind of carried us on.
What's this? What is your stepfather's name?
Elhan.
Elhan.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Right
Good
on.
guy.
I had a question about the religion. So Muslim is the religion over there. I know there's like two types of Muslim. There's the one with like the good Muslim, I guess you could say. And then there's the Quran, right?
The Sheikh
practice.
and the Shia. Yeah.
Yeah, the Sheikh and the Shia,
Yeah.
right? That's how
Yeah.
it was in Iraq. Which type was it over there?
That's a great question. It's when it comes to these
I'm only
religions,
wondering, like, how dangerous was it?
it's not as dangerous as if you were to go to, for example, Afghanistan.
Okay.
Okay, but definitely not as safe as America.
Definitely not as safe as America.
Currently or back then?
I would say back then, and the reason for that is because of the turmoil that was caused from the destruction and
Of
disbandment
the Soviets.
of the
Soviet
Soviets,
Union.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like,
About
imagine if
crashing.
America said,
The
"Hey,
government just fell.
right,
You know.
right. You go to the Dominican Republic, hey, that's it. Like, we're not supporting you anymore. That's it. No more aid from America." What happens then?
Jesus.
Yeah.
So what happened? Your mom meets your stepdad.
Yeah. So you meet
Everything's good. How did you get from Azerbaijan to America? Was there anything prolific or like great during that time that was like that is a part of the story until you got to America? Or was it just like, hey, we got to make money. We need opportunity. I'm looking all over the world. America's on the map. Right?
That's exactly how it looks. Well, so over there, you finish school at 11th grade, right? So you go from first, it's the same school. There's no elementary, middle, high school. It's just all school. I was going to school 160. That was the name of our school, 160. Yeah.
The school's name is 160.
160. Yeah. Every single morning, I'll never forget this. Every single morning we would sing the Russian anthem, not say the pledge, but actually sing the anthem. And then the school itself had an anthem and we would sing that anthem as well. Right. So it's just structure, uniforms, big square backpacks. I'll never forget it. So that's how it starts. And why do they do that? They do that because right after high school, you immediately go into the military. My mother knew this. My mother knew that the moment I walk and step foot into the military, my grandpa takes over. He takes me in and she's lost me forever because he's the general.
He has the pull within the military to keep you close, put you where he wants to.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he would have offered me some positions I couldn't say no to, and just lost me. And I would have just been on the military side over there, fighting with them, doing whatever I do over there. My mom said no. She said, no, this is no way to live. She wanted me to be a doctor, lawyer, astronaut, right? That's kind of her whole plan with me.
In Azerbaijan?
Yes. And she knew that is not something that was going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
So then what happened? So obviously she didn't like the way things were going there, the opportunities. Then like, why America? Why America, bro?
It's funny. It was
like, why not Australia or something?
Germany.
Germany.
it was a literal, I'm not even kidding, a literal coin toss between Germany and America.
Oh,
Holy
wow.
smokes.
Yeah.
Just get out.
It was a little, like I said, it was heads America, tails Germany.
And what time was this? Like 94, 95?
No, this was closer to about 99.
99, okay.
This is closer to
So you were-
99.
Okay, so you're like what?
I was
7,
about
6?
7, 8. Yeah.
8, yeah, 7, 8,
somewhere,
okay.
somewhere around there.
All right.
Then 2001.
Old enough
hit.
to know what's going on.
I had suspicions. I also thought when I was finally told that I'm moving to America, I was asking if Superman was going to be flying around. So, you kind of know where my head's at, But yeah, so 2001 came.
Okay.
And
That was when the Twin Towers fell.
right, which is really, really insane that happened. I moved here. We have a July 4th episode. I came to America on July 4th, 2001. I stepped foot and landed in America, or Beaverton, Oregon.
So
Holy
you were
smokes. I didn't even know
just in
that.
pre 9/11 for just a little bit.
Yes.
United States.
Yeah.
So you went straight to Oregon, no other states?
No other states. We went straight to Oregon. The reason we did that is because my stepdad's
Family was there.
his sister, she was a registered nurse at the time, and his mother lived there. So they were nice enough to give us a little bit of shelter, a little bit of guidance, a little help, and that's where we were, Oregon,
Which part of Oregon again? I'm sorry.
Beaverton,
Beaverton.
Beaverton,
Is that
Oregon.
south? Is that South Oregon?
It's a little. It's like by Eugene, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know. I should have known that because I've traveled
Yeah.
everywhere in the country. But that's crazy. So then you get to Beaverton, Oregon. Did you go to any other states?
Not originally. No.
So you landed first in Oregon, like you got like a visa or whatever they call it, a green
Yes.
card or something. And then you came here and then you just kind of like set up camp in Beaverton, Oregon. You went to school.
What a culture shock, Colt. What a culture shock.
Why?
Oh my gosh. I go from a desert-ish type of environment, like, there's some greenery, to Oregon.
Forest.
Raining, mountains, trees,
Snow, all of it. Yeah.
people. I didn't understand the people. I didn't understand the culture. We didn't have a car or anything like that at the time. So I would walk every single day.
Was it just you?
It was just me. Yeah.
I know you have a brother. That's why. Was he born yet or not?
Right. Yeah. My brother wasn't born until 2002 in Oregon. Yeah. So he was born a year after we moved in, after we moved to America.
Okay.
Yeah.
You never told me exactly like what the decision was based on.
It was, so the decision for us to move here was purely
America or Germany, right?
Yeah, right. America or Germany. We ended up going to America once again, just because of a flip of a coin. That's a real story. It's
Had nothing to do with like, okay, well, like I'm pretty sure maybe your mom had some ideas in her head, like, okay, well, like where can I create the best opportunity? Maybe she had something that we don't know about.
I know that we have my aunt and my dad's mom out here, right? So just having those two backings here, I'm sure,
had a huge play in it.
Yeah,
Right.
it definitely tilted us going to America way more. And I mean, America, when you're outside of America and you're not, all you see is what America is, that's the only place you want to go to. America, I mean, it's Hollywood. All of America is like multi-million-dollar Hollywood lifestyle.
Oh, you live in Hollywood, but you really live in Kansas.
Yeah, everyone lives in Hollywood. Everyone lives in
Yeah.
Beverly Hills
Mhm.
mansions.
Yeah.
That's the idea. That's the idea. So for me, all I grew up was watching Spider-Man and Superman, and where are they all around? They're in New York. They're in America. I'm like,
Mhm.
man, they don't love us enough. We don't get any superheroes, So came out here, and it's a blessing.
So America has this whole like facade that it's just the greatest place to go because everything that's cool is in America.
It is the greatest place to go.
Right. I agree. So once you get there, you get to Oregon, you guys are like living your life and everything. Like, what happened from there? Like, what did you do? Like, how did you get here to Southern California?
Right.
Like, I don't know if there's any dips in that. Did you go somewhere else? Did you, was it hard to get started? Like, what was it like? Like,
It was definitely hard to get started. None of us spoke English. I didn't speak English. My mother didn't speak English. My
and what language do you speak currently?
Russian.
Russian.
Yeah, we all spoke Russian. My mom speaks Turkish. She speaks 4 different languages. I speak Russian.
Russian, Turkish.
What
English.
is the language of Azerbaijan?
It's Azeri.
Azeri.
Yeah, it's like a dialect of Turkish. It's
Okay.
a dialect of Turkish.
Do you speak that?
I don't.
You don't understand it.
No, not really.
So your mom just spoke Russian to you?
She spoke Russian to me. Yeah. And the reason she did that
More
was
common.
it's way more common. She thought that it would just help me in life more knowing Russian than it would ever learning Turkish.
I heard you speaking it this morning.
Russian?
Yeah.
I got a couple jobs because of
That's
it.
good. Yeah.
It
If you guys didn't know, this guy owns, he's a part owner in Attention Detail Moving. And he also owns another company, which is new, Service Master, which we're all a partner in. So he's my partner in that also. So keep going. I want to hear I want to know more about what happened after Oregon. I want to know if you guys moved and then what the reason behind that was, and eventually to kind of how you get to yourself today.
Right. So none of us spoke any English whatsoever. Right. So we didn't speak English, and I was set off to school.
Didn't have Rosetta Stone back then.
Well, yeah. I mean, I couldn't afford no Rosetta Stone back then, man. We couldn't afford that. I remember my mom's first job here was being a nanny. So she was taking care of some young kids, and she would take care of some older people, change diapers, old or young. You know, she just did what she could.
Did whatever she could.
Whatever she could.
Because she's a savage.
She is a savage. She really is.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
But yeah, I mean, you know, going out to school, you see all the kids, everyone already has their groups. Everyone already has their cliques. And, you know, I'm the weird kid over there that doesn't speak English. I look a little funny. I have a funny sounding name that people can't comprehend. And I lived in Beaverton, Oregon. It was predominantly white over there, right?
Right.
So,
Everyone's last name is Johnson or,
exactly,
you know, something
Smith
Stevens or Smith or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
You don't get a
Robertson.
whole lot of Javid Hasanovs over there.
And at the time, like, what did that feel like having that type of last name, like Javid Hasanov? Because when you say it, it's got like a Has, like, you know, it sounds kind of like you're from like a Middle Eastern country. In a
That's what I
sense.
was feeling a little bit too. That's what I thought at first.
That's what I thought when I first met him,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And there's another story behind that, but keep going.
Definitely felt ostracizing. Definitely, you know, I would have people come up to me and start speaking Spanish to me a lot. So I was like, I don't even know what you're saying. I'm sure that I've been, you know, the butt of many jokes back then and just not even realize it. I've always sat there. I had my hands, you know, crossed
Mm-hmm.
and just sat there, just stared at the teacher's mouth. That's all I did. I just stared at the teacher's mouth. Didn't understand what the heck they were saying, but, you know, I was trying to give it my all. I was lucky enough to pick up English within a matter of, I would say, about 8 to 9 months of living here. So sub 1 year, I was not proficient, but I was definitely speaking the language.
Did you have to go to like a different, so obviously you went to the public school in Oregon, but did you have to like go to a special class or something because you didn't speak?
Right. Yeah. They put me in ESL, English as a second language.
Oh, yeah. I remember that back in the
so
day.
they put you in ESL.
So there's people from different countries there, different languages, and you're just kind of learning.
I was kind of learning. In all honesty, they
You were
started.
learning Spanish?
Oh my gosh, man! They put me in those classes from.
Were you the only guy that spoke Russian?
Yes,
For sure.
Everyone else spoke what? Spanish.
everybody's Spanish.
Yeah,
Everyone's Spanish. Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
So
Or maybe Chinese or something.
Nope.
Or,
That's
no.
Nope.
No.
Everyone's Spanish.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's just how it is. That's
Yeah.
how it is. But yeah, so I was in Oregon for about 3 years. As I said, my mom was she was like cleaning toilets and changing diapers, and then she eventually became a CNA, a certified nursing assistant. From there, we moved to Arizona. We moved to Arizona. That was around 2006.
Why Arizona?
Because of the real estate market. We wanted to move to California. We couldn't afford it. We ended up moving out there. My stepdad ended up getting some loan and get some money in. And my mom was doing the CNA thing. And we ended up getting a house.
So the goal was to move to California.
The goal is to move to California.
Live in Beverly Hills.
That's right.
In a mansion.
In a mansion next to Bruce Willis and
Spider-Man and
Spider-Man.
everybody.
Yeah,
All right.
Exactly.
I see what okay.
Right.
Keep going.
Yeah. So we moved out to Arizona. We lived there for a while. You know, at this point, I'm speaking the language and I'm getting a lot more accustomed to the culture, which is not necessarily the best thing, right?
The culture in Arizona?
The culture that I fell into in America, right? I fell into a more rebellious type of field, right? So I went with the kids that were were partying and they were drinking and they were doing whatever they were doing. That's kind of the crowd I rolled with, which was totally against what my mom, right, wanted me to do.
She's like, I sacrificed everything to get you to
Everything.
this country. And then what are you doing?
Yes. Every day she looks at me, she's like, I swear, if you're not more successful than me, then I have failed you as a mother. And that hurts to think, for someone to say. I'm like, oh man, I got to do it. Anyway, really bad relationship with the mother.
Your mom.
With my mom when I was younger. I feel like that happens when, you get a one-sided family.
She couldn't hear anything. You just couldn't hear her.
I couldn't hear.
No.
Oh yeah. No, when you're a teenager, you know it all.
How is your relationship with your stepdad at this time? Because I know you have a brother too.
And how old were you?
Yeah, good relationship. At the time in Arizona, I was coming up to my 9th grade, was at 13, 14-ish, 8th, 9th grade. I was coming up to 13, 14.
Living in Phoenix?
Living in Phoenix, yeah. And then 2008 hit. 2008 hit, and we had the recession. We had to foreclose our house.
Holy
right?
crap.
We had a house foreclosure, and that
So
was
your mom and stepdad owned a house.
Yeah,
And
just couldn't pay on it anymore. It was just ridiculous.
Because your mom was a CNA, right? So
She was a CNA.
making a ton of money or anything at the time.
No,
What was your dad doing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. He was doing some insurance stuff on the side.
He was just hustling?
He was hustling.
Right on.
Yeah, he was
I get that.
hustling.
Paying
Now-
bills.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
However, when you see, especially coming from where we came from, I think he was bothered by the fact that he saw my mother sitting there with a giant medical textbook in one hand, a Russian to English dictionary in another hand, and she was bettering herself. And she was on the way to become an LVN, eventually to become an RN. Now she has a master's in nursing and stuff. She's doing great.
She's basically a doctor.
She's basically, she's great. But it was tough. It was tough as him, I would imagine, to see his woman accomplishing all these things, learning the language, adopting the culture, and him not being able to do that. He was actually, I do remember he was stuck doing taxi driving, right? So that just really, I would say, brought out some insecurities within him, which he physically took out on both of us. So that was happening, right? So we moved, so the house foreclosed. Imagine the stress that brought upon the whole family. We had to immediately vacate. We actually moved to California. We moved to an apartment off of Victory and Reseda.
In the valley.
Oh my gosh, man. I'll never forget this. It was a room maybe a quarter size bigger than this, with me, my stepdad, my mom, my grandma, and my brother all living inside of it. So I won't forget that. So anyway, you see as this man, you see your woman adopting the culture, getting better, improving herself, and you're just not catching on. So take it out physically. At this time, I'm 15. And I see the violence that's commencing, and it makes me just want to get myself out of the house. I don't want to be around. I don't want to be involved because I can't do anything. I was 15. I had zero control of the situation that was happening between my father or my stepdad and my mother, just zero control of that kind of situation. But eventually, as we all do, we get older, we get stronger, we get a little bit more snappy when we're teens. So it happened. I was 16. I walk in from school and I see my mom crying. I have never in my life have seen this woman cry, not one time. And I see her crying, and I see my stepdad just kind of sitting there, just being aggressive. And we had a little yell off, and we ended up getting in a tussle where I ended up, putting hands on him. Finally, after all this time, all the aggression that I've had throughout my whole life, just came out one day and ended up, and he's in his 50s. So, I'm sure who won. As I take him down, my mom grabs me. We go to a hotel room, and she completely separates from him. And that right there is what started the rest of our life. That moment. She split from him, and once again, she's this woman left alone, now in a completely different country. She, however, persevered through her education and just through the opportunities that America gave her, right? Through loans and grants and just programs that we can go through, right? She was
resourceful.
She was super resourceful. She found a way She got her degree. She actually graduated valedictorian of her nursing school. You ask her about that.
Dang,
Yeah.
man.
It's the thickest. If you guys ever meet her, she's got
What a
the thick.
badass.
She's got you met my mom's the thickest Russian
Yes,
accent. You know
yes.
everything. She's just a great woman. So yeah, I mean, all of that happened, and eventually, I finished high school. She ended up buying a house. I lived there, and then
Where was this?
so originally we lived in Woodland Hills, and then we finally moved to Simi Valley. Right at this point, I've graduated high school.
So Arizona, all that stuff happens. You didn't go anywhere else, just straight to California.
We went to California. So we went to California and we lived in that little 1-bedroom. From there, we bounced around California a lot. We moved from California, from like Reseda over to Woodland Hills. Got a nice little condo up there.
Got a little 1-bedroom apartment, something like that.
Exactly.
Or whatever. Started there.
Yeah, exactly. And then from there,
Why California? Just because that was where Spider-Man is.
Sunny. It's where Spider-Man is. It's
Yeah.
sunny. It's beautiful. It's on the west. We were already on the West Coast, so we were gonna stay this way. Me personally, I love California. I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad that we made it out
Me
here.
too.
Yeah, Cole. Me and you travel around all over for the moving company, and everywhere I've been, I always just want to come back home to Cali every single time.
It is. It's a great place.
It is. You might not agree with certain things, but
It's home.
Yeah,
It's
but
a great place.
it's home. The weather's good.
Yeah,
98% of the time.
yeah.
So you move back to Woodland Hills or Reseda, then you move to Woodland Hills, right? Then what happens? Like what happens to your mom? Like what happens with you guys?
Right.
So it's just you, your mom, and your brother.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Stepdad's not in the picture.
He's not at this point. He's not in the picture.
Like at all.
She is completely just took herself away from him. So yeah, he's living somewhere completely different. I have no communication with him. We don't know. I don't know where he is.
So now you're being raised completely by a single mother alone again.
Right. And when that happens, you
What's your money situation like? Sorry to interrupt.
back then?
Yeah.
Me?
At that time,
Me?
you moved to California.
None.
You got a receipt.
Me zero.
Well, obviously you zero, but your mom.
It was tough. I mean,
She was going to school probably.
She was going to school. I know this. I know that I had food. I know that I had water. I knew that I had a bathroom, and I knew that I had a bed and a roof over my head. That was right there enough for me. I didn't have a cell phone until I was 18 years old, until I was old enough to buy one. Everybody at my class had one. I was always made fun of because of it. I'll never forget it. I was like, Mom, can I please just have a cell phone, please? It's like $30. Nope. Like, Mom, can we please not have dial-up? It's like 2015, 2017. Can we please not have dial-up? She's like, nope. It costs an extra $15 a month. I can't afford it. So it was one of those kinds of
things were tight.
situations. Things were tight, and I never really questioned her about it. I'm like, okay. And I didn't know any better. It was fine for me. I didn't have the iPad and the four-wheelers and all these things back then when I was a kid. I didn't have them to begin with. So, not having them, it's easier to not have something and then just continue not having it than to have something and get it taken away from you. So, that didn't really bother me. What did bother me was that I didn't have a male role model in my life, right? So I didn't have that. And all I had was my mother, who was just so preoccupied with life. I mean, you can't blame her. As now looking back, I commend her for everything she did to raise me and my brother at, in her mid-20s or her like early 30s trying to do all this. I'm 32. I'm trying to think of if I could do what she did, probably, but it would not be fun. It would definitely be extremely, extremely difficult. But what did I do as her favorite son? I completely rebel. I get into
16,
16, 17, 18, 19. I'm smoking. I'm drinking. I'm hanging out with just like not the best crowd ever. And there's this nothing.
Why?
Well, it's because I got into a little bit of like the music scene over there, and I just kind of led into some people.
So that's who you're hanging around.
It's just who I was hanging around.
Which they
with.
say like the 5 people that you hang around the most is most likely who you're going to be like, right?
Even more so back then, because I'm looking to emulate some sort of manliness from anybody. I'm just looking to emulate it. And sometimes
Seeking validation.
I'm seeking validation. Exactly. And if I can't get it from some male figure that's actually doing well in their life and bettering themselves, I'm going to get it from the streets. I'm going to get it from my friends. I'm going to get it from. Exactly. Yeah.
So all that happens. Your mom's like striving to be this, leader for you, male role model in a sense, mother, provider. You see her doing all these things. And it's because of the situation, the area, the country that you live in, right? That's providing all these things.
Yes.
Right? So you get past that. You get past your little phase of this. And then somehow you manage to walk into attention to detail and meet me.
It was a crazy story right before that. So like I said, I was going out all the time. My mom was nice enough to have me live there. Eventually, she had to be at work at 6 a.m. For 2 years straight, I have a cat. The cat's important to the story, I promise. I had a cat, Piper, and I would come home at like 3 a.m. every day. I'd go pass out in my living room, and my cat he was an outside cat. He'd follow me inside, and he'd get stuck there, and he'd start meowing at the door extremely loudly. I wouldn't get up. I was clocked out. My mom would, even though she had to wake up at 6 a.m., she would walk downstairs at 3, 4, 5 in the morning, open the door for the cat, and she was just livid. It was day after day after day until one day she was like, Javid, look, I'm not kidding. This happens to you one more time, Javid, you're out. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. That night, same thing happens. I bring the cat in, she meows. She wakes me up. She's like, you'll see. Next morning or next day, I go to work. I come back. By the way, at this point, I'm working at a moving company. I'm working not for attention to detail. It was a totally different moving company. I was going to school and I was moving. Anyway, so I go to work. I come home. All of my bags, all of my clothes are in black bags outside. She changed the locks. She changed the garage code, everything. Changed it. And I was stubborn. I said, you know what? Fine. You don't want me here? I'll figure it out. I have friends. Who are they really? They're little 17, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, whatever. Anyway, I had a little Ford Fiesta, put all of my stuff inside of my Ford Fiesta and just took off. I started living on the streets. Couch surfed, went to this friend's house, went to that friend's house, lived in my car, was doing, oh man, it was crazy. I was doing I remember at a semester. It was calculus, physics, biology, and moving full time.
Well, your mom's calling you saying, let me translate. You're stupid.
You are so stupid.
You're a dumb boy.
No, she never would. She never called me. My grandma would, but my mom's way more stubborn than I am.
She was giving you the tough love.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Which now I think
appreciate it. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I get you, man. She had to teach you the lesson.
Sometimes you got to hit rock bottom. Right, guys?
100%. So what did that do for me? What it did was, as I was doing all this and I was working at this moving company, I met some really, really close friends to me. One of my friends, Jeff, ended up finding you, Colt. He ended up finding you, ended up working for you a little bit. And he's my buddy. He's like, hey, man, come work for this guy. He's a Marine. He's got this awesome new business. We should help him get it set up. We should go help him out with this business. I said, great. I showed up in a cut off tank top with my backwards hat. Even though this company, it's absolutely not okay in the dress code. There's no hats, no cut off tee. I show up completely exact opposite of what the attention to detail was looking for. You ended up hiring me. I ended up working for you for a little bit. You were nice enough to let me stay there. You remember that? You were nice enough to let me stay there.
So you hired him? That was okay.
Yeah, he just came in my door and he was like, what's up? I'm here.
Yeah.
I was like, hey.
And what was, do you remember what your first thoughts were of Javid when you first met him?
It was the energy. His energy was really good. He's got this natural aura, which everyone can relate if they're hearing this. He's got a natural energy. So I kind of and I'm good with energy, and I was like, I could trust this guy. Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's give you a try. Right, you know what I mean? Let's do it when you're ready to go right now, And it's crazy. And the reason why we get to the end of this story, and that's pretty much where the relationship started, is people from different countries that come to America, I feel like they take on a different presence here. They take on the idea of freedom and opportunity completely different than the average citizen, okay? Unless you've served this country, okay, or you've had someone that's served for you that was in your family, I think that the idea of freedom just isn't understood, okay? Because freedom isn't just about being free to think and feel how you want to feel. It's also about the opportunity that it creates. So America in itself is an opportunity-based country that everyone strives to want to be at because of the opportunities that are here, okay? Because you can literally start off with nothing, and this country will give you as much as you need help for, as long as you're willing to put in the effort, okay? That's how this country was built by our forefathers. This country it says on the Statue of Liberty, give us you're tired, you're hungry, you're poor, okay? People come from this country and they see America and they're not American. And I remember, this is just the reason why this country is so great. I remember being in the Marine Corps, and I know a lot of vets out there can relate, but I feel like at least 40%, maybe almost half of the dudes that I knew in the military were from a different country. Half of them weren't even citizens. Dudes that I was in Iraq with weren't even citizens of this country, and they were fighting with me. I remember asking one of my boys, this guy named Sigmani. His name was I'm going to pronounce it wrong. I think he's from like Vietnam or something like that, but his name's Roxat Sigmani. And I was like, yeah, what's up, bro? And he was always real quiet and this and that. And we're talking one day, and I was like, so what are you going to do when you get out? He's like, oh, dude, I'm hoping I'll get my citizenship. I was like, what? I thought you had to be a citizen to be in the Marine Corps, or the military. Mm-hmm. He was like, nah, bro. He's like, I just have a green card. That's it. And this is how I wanted to earn my citizenship, by serving in America. And I believe they have a program now, or have a program that allows people from different countries to go in the military, and then basically when they get out, they can apply. And it's like kind of like a fast pass kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% for sure on how it works, but I know that there's something.
That's great though.
But it just blew my mind. I was like, man, there's all these people that want to be a part of this country, and that's what's so great about the 4th of July is it's the birthday of the greatest country in the world, period, ever in history. Because this country literally wants anyone that wants to have opportunity, freedom, and safety to come here. We'll take care of you. That's what this country's built on. Okay? It doesn't matter where you come from, what your race is, what your background. It doesn't matter. You can be poor. You can be rich. It doesn't matter. And that's such a cool story that he just told us about the history and the background of someone that came from a different country as an immigrant with no idea. You had no plan. There was no 10-year plan. Okay, we're going to go to America. We got people, it's like, boom, you landed here and you're like, all right, what are we going to do? And you, because of the opportunity that America gave, your mom was able to figure it out and then create a life for you. And now she's highly successful. Okay. You're highly successful. You own multiple companies just in a 6-year span. Because of what? Because of the opportunity that's been here, that's been given to your mom, that was given to you, that was given to me. And honestly, freedom has a taste that the people that didn't serve could never feel. You know what I'm saying? What was that? What was that term? It's freedom has a taste that the protected never know. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
And that's just what it is.
Listening to you speak right now, I was just thinking too, like, when you serve, it's almost like you're giving your freedom away for a couple of years to the government. You know what I'm saying? To the country.
Giving your time away.
Right.
Right? Because you're allotting not only your time, but your life. You're signing on a piece of paper willing to give up your life for, whatever they pay you, technically, which is pennies.
And however length of years.
Correct.
So.
But there's benefits to that, and I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. Would you?
So then where, like, when you say like freedom, like has a taste that only like those.
The protected. Yeah, I forget what it is. It's freedom has a taste that the protected will never understand.
Yeah.
Never. Yeah, whatever. Something like that.
So I feel like.
I'm going to look this up right now just to make sure I get it right.
Putting those years in and having like kind of like your freedom taken from you, like it makes you more appreciative, because like I love being here and having opportunity and like getting to work as hard as I want to without anybody telling me like you're capped. You know what I'm saying? And like I know like in other countries that's the case. You could only go as high as what a local, business or something like that.
That's the beauty of capitalism, man. That's the beauty of America. That's the beauty of freedom. You're free to be as successful as you want, and you're free to fail and dig your own grave as deep as you want to dig.
Correct.
Mhm.
I agree. I love that. I love how you put that. I got it right here, guys. For those who have fought for it, freedom has a taste. The protected will never know. Okay, so that's for like, people that fought for this country, right? But the reason why we fought for this country and the reason why I served my country, not only that I was, kicked out of my house, just similar to this guy because I was a knucklehead.
Yeah.
But I fought for this country because I wanted to do more and I wanted to have like a sense of belonging because I didn't have no brotherhood. I had no dad. My dad was, too busy trying on women's clothes. So I didn't have that. I didn't have the male role model. I didn't have the brothers that were like steering me in the right way. I had people trying to show me the wrong way. I was getting into a whole bunch of...
You didn't have good mentors at this time.
I didn't, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't for the United States military and then teaching me, well, the most important thing about America, from what I know and from what I've, understood and everything through my time, is America's all about history. Now, why is history so important to us? You guys know?
I think that history is important to us because it teaches us the mistakes that humans have made in the past that we are almost destined to make,
to recreate.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And not to mention that's great that you said that, but history is also something that repeats itself.
Yes.
Okay. History repeats itself. So if in America, they teach us what, our forefathers did in the past, the wars that we had to go through, the struggle, the civil rights movements of, being different races and genders and all these other things. And now it's like, okay, cool. Be whoever you want to be, right? In this country. We will allow you to be whoever you want to be as long as you don't infringe upon anyone else's rights.
That's kind of the rules we all agree on.
Correct. Don't infringe upon my rights. Don't tell me what to do without reason. As long as I'm not hurting anyone else or, causing, too much trouble. Like let's just keep it, just keep it cool, right? And let me be me and I'll let you be you. And if I want to, dye my hair purple or shave my head or I want to believe in Christianity or Catholicism or whatever, it's okay.
If I want to be a poor person or I want to be a rich person, it keeps
Correct.
going, right? You're free to go down the wrong path as much as you want.
Correct. And the other cool thing is America lets you be whatever, not only that you want to be, but you can go as high as you want. So like, and that's why we talk about the opportunity that it creates. There's no level to it.
Right.
You can either be the poorest person on the world living on the streets, literally living on the streets, or you could be the richest man in the world and literally get government grants like Elon Musk and have billions. You can be anywhere in the middle. You can believe in whatever you want to believe. You can do whatever you want to do. And that's the cool thing about America. And that's what we all strive to emulate, is to be in that center of this country to where we can kind of do whatever we want. And being an immigrant proves that. It proves that he came here with his mom with zero, with nothing. Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. He had a crazy history.
Didn't speak the
his
language.
Dad was gone. Like, his mom figured it out. God bless her heart. She's the toughest woman I've ever met.
Your mom is like the real OG right here.
Once again, I'll never lose the image of her with a ginormous medical textbook in one hand, the English to Russian translator, stepdad screaming, "I'm going crazy," because I'm a handful back then, So
what do those emotions do for you? Because emotions trigger what? They create a memory, right? A deep memory. And obviously seeing all that stuff coming from your history, coming from a different country, do you almost feel like you need to prove it more than the next guy? Do you feel like, okay, well, even though you're a citizen now, do you feel that you need to work harder than some dude that just was born here? How do you feel? Like
1,000%. 1,000%.
Like you got to try harder.
Failure is not an option. There is no plan B. This has to happen. I've made a promise to my mother. My mom asked me for one thing in this entire life. She's like, I want nothing but for you to succeed. Can you please do that?
Be more successful than her.
She just wants to not worry. She's like, can you please make me not worried about you? That's all I want. Yes, I have to give that to her. I have to retire her. I have to get her. I have to do all of that. All of that has to happen. And it will. It's you say it all the time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely a matter of when.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, 100%. Yeah, coming from a different country definitely does put that perspective.
Gives you a different view, right?
100%. I mean, even in the employees we hire, the people I meet on the street, the conversations I have with random people, you see with people that move out of or come here from a different country, they are just fired up because they know what the other side of the fence looks like. They know what it looks like. Everyone's like, oh man, it's grass is greener on the other side. Go to the other side. Live there for 10 years. Come back and tell me how green that grass is over there, brother. Go tell me.
That's why traveling's so important.
So important.
Like when I went to Iraq, I thought I knew. Like my mom taught me well. My mom was in the same boat as your mom. Struggling mom, didn't have a father, raising two kids on her own, poor as hell. So, but like the things was that she taught me like what money's about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how valuable it is and like how to come from nothing. And then by the time I went in the Marine Corps and then going to Iraq and then seeing these kids like drinking from like a river, you're like, dang, where's your faucet? Huh? What's a faucet? I'm just going to eat bread again for the third day in a row, living in my hut with no air conditioning and it's made of mud. You know what I'm saying? And then I got to worry about the insurgents coming over here to rape my mom and then to take my dad and then cut his throat.
Wow.
Like that's your life. And I've seen that. And I've seen the rabid dogs and the diseases and all this other crap. So to go see that and have that in my memory, that emotional memory of seeing the trauma and seeing all these things, then coming back to America and just be like, oh my God, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am so lucky to be here.
Yeah, dude.
To wake up here every day, to just have a breath. And I don't need to worry about sleeping at night. I can just wake up and have peace. That's what America is about, is peace. Being here and being free and having peace that you can sleep at night safe, right? And that's why everyone flocks to this country, because it's the greatest country in the world because of the values that we have here in America. We protect our own, we take care of our people. When our people are poor, when they're tired, when they're hungry, we take care of them, and that's what 4th of July is about. Celebrating the birthday of this country, of these people from all walks of life. You could be whoever you want. And we love you.
You got all passionate right now.
You about to cry, bro?
Yeah, you're like, all these people. I'm like, Javid's right here.
Professor Medina is about to cry.
I see the tears.
All passionate.
I think it's so important to have that, guys. And I'm thankful that we heard that story. Makes me a little
It
choked
was
up
you,
here.
Colt. It was you, man.
No, it was you, bro.
At the end of the day, you know what? Sure. It was me that made the steps, but meeting you, I mean, we're getting into a little bit of brown nosing
That's cool,
over
though.
here,
That's
guys.
cool, dude. That's the relationship,
This
Guy was the male mentor for me. At the end of the day, that's just what happened. It was, I'll never forget, I was doing moving for you. And then eventually I got into the office and you were right there, man. Like my first office, I was like, hey man, I've never taken a sales call before. Like, I don't know what to do. He's like, just pick up the phone. Picked up the phone. I made the call. You were like right there. You're like right there, breathing down my neck. And you told me what to say. You got me, got me through those humps and made me, and then did it again and again and again and again and again. And finally, here we are. So I thank you for that. I thank you. Yeah.
You did it yourself, bro. I mean, you know how they say like, you can, what is it? You can lead a horse to water,
but you can't make him drink.
Correct.
Knowing you guys together, because I'm like a third party here. Like Javid is your number 2. He's definitely like the man. Like when you're not around, like he handles everything. Like
He's turning into the number 1 though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like right around the corner. He's about to lap me. He's
Just
finding the
make
best
me
version
blush.
of himself. He knows that best version of himself is about 100 yards away, and he sees him, and he's trailing on him, and he's going to catch him.
Right on.
Yes.
That's where he's at, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned over time. It's just to wish the best upon everybody else,
Mhm.
because that only makes you better, right?
Yeah. You don't need to hold on to any nonsense like that. Like whatever. Everybody. I hope that you guys do good. I don't wish bad on anybody.
I love it, man. You're obviously you're born in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. What's your parents?
Yes, but my grandparents are from Mexico.
Okay. Yeah, my great grandparents are from Italy. So taking into account, like you're the first generation here. Well, technically your mom, but you know what I mean?
Right.
You. Being I think I'm the third generation here from my mom's side that would be from America. So that there's a history. So we all got here somehow, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So when some people say like, like, wow, like, oh, you're an immigrant or you're this or you're that, and people have their own views on things like that. I just think when you get down to it, we all came from a different country.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think that unless you're like straight Native American and you can trace your ancestors back, 500 years or, a few hundred years or something, I really think that we all come from a different country. And I think that's so important to understand right now, because immigration is one of the main bases about like what America was built on.
It's a hot topic right now too.
It is. And it is. And I'm not saying that everyone needs to come here and just flock into our country and it's just open door policy. No, I'm not saying that.
I got you.
Okay.
You never said that.
I never said that, because everyone, like everyone needs to do it the right way. I believe, right? Let's do it the right way.
If you want to fast pass it, military, that's a good option.
Good. I believe, and I'm not one for politics, but I do believe that, anyone that wants to come here should be able to, as long as it's the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because I have some really good friends that are immigrants. I have people that still aren't American citizens. One of our business partners is even an American citizen yet. And he values America probably more than the average Joe.
You're giving him the opportunity.
I'm talking like anything and everything you need to do, it's jump, jump, jump. And I think that if you come from a different country, you will feel more value in this country just by that feeling, that because you understand what it's like to be elsewhere, like we had talked about before. And same thing with the military, going to different countries, seeing the worst of the worst and knowing that I don't want to live like this. I could never live like this. And the only alternative to not living like that is to either get out of there or be gone. And that just sucks. We can't change every country as Americans, but we can definitely help people that want to be here feel welcome, and we can take care of our own. As long as they go through the right processes, as long as they contribute. Okay. I'm all for it. Okay. And that's just a huge story. That's just a powerful story of a will to survive, of a will to come here, of a will to just have more for yourself, have opportunity, have greatness, and be here in the seat that you're at because you got here on your own. And you got here with all your willpower, everything. You didn't ask anybody for any help. And your mom set the tone for that by getting you here. And you looked up to your mom and you saw, hey, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I follow my mom and she's my guiding light. And then you ran into all these people because you had the will to survive.
Yeah. Well, what that did for me was it built if that guy can do it, why can't I mentality?
I believe the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
And when I walk into a room, I feel literally like I'm leading this room.
Yeah.
That's how my mentality is. Like I'm taking over. It could be president, whoever. It don't matter.
It's the Marine in you.
You can call it the Marine in me, or you can call it I don't think anyone has what I can't have.
Yeah.
And I think that's American. America's all about that. You all can have the same thing. What you have and what I have, and we can all have the same thing. That's America, guys. So anyways, guys, that was great, man. You got anything else, bro?
Thank you,
I
dude.
think we touched on some good subjects today.
It's awesome. 4th of July, we're very lucky to be here. We count our blessings, we all vibe on the same of okay, what are we doing today? How are we going to grow the business? How are we going to move the needle forward a little bit? We could be lazy and at home and not be on top of ourselves physically, mentally, even the podcast is it's work too, but we're doing it. We love it. And it's our way to give back and enjoy all the freedom we've been given.
Just remember when you guys are celebrating the 4th of July, just remember, okay, all the people that were before us, okay, that paved the way through all the, rights stuff that they had to deal with to get here, to get the freedom that they deserve, and all the soldiers that passed away to give this freedom to us, okay? Just remember that. I know it's not Memorial Day, but the 4th of July is the birthday of the greatest country in the world. And the reason why it's the greatest country in the world is because people have laid down their lives to protect it. Do not slap them in the face by not giving it your all, guys. Everyone deserves to be the best version of themselves. And do that. celebrate the 4th of July and honor. Be patriotic. Wear America on your back and hold that American flag up high.
Let's go.
Until then, guys, get up, get after it, and get some.